to get that belt fixed, but you know what, man? You know what would make this thing better?
What?
4 more engines.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about building a custom V8 engine out of 8 lawnmower engines.
I think you're crazy, dude. That's gonna be nearly 100 horsepower, but like over 400 pounds.
It might be crazy enough to work. Fire me up and let's get to it.
Today's video is sponsored by Aura. Alright, so our goal here is to build a V8 engine out of 8 Tillotson 212cc engines that weighs less than a small block Chevrolet V8 engine, but makes just as much power as one.
That's gonna be tough, but
oh, we can do it. So reliability is a huge concern for this V8. We've done 3 revisions with these engine connectors and we can't seem to make them last more than 30 minutes. Even in that short little run, we've managed to break one of them. You should be able to move that while he's holding the crankshaft over there. So we have an issue we need to fix over here. But we have kind of an out-of-the-box way to connect our other 4 engines that we're curious to see if it's going to be more reliable. We'll talk more about that later.
So our other major hurdle is packaging. We're gonna build this thing and run it on the table, eventually putting it in a car and seeing if it will outperform a real small block Chevy in a race of some sort. This is like the first engine plate we made. I want to build 2 engine plates and attach them to like 3 pieces of metal standing up, almost like a V8 engine already.
I like it.
Okay, so it's kind of like an old Buick nail head V8. We've got a lot of metal cutting on the lane mirror that we have to do. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 panels that we've got to build. Oh, this is gonna look insane.
I can't wait.
There we go. All right. A small block Chevrolet V8 engine weighs about 400 pounds. We need to make our engine plates out of this, so it's going to be very close to see if we can make it lighter than a small block Chevy V8.
You having troubles, buddy?
Yeah.
What?
We made an octopus.
All right. Great job. High five. All right.
All right. Last bolt's out. That way.
Yeah, let's go this way.
3, 2, 1. Oh. Oh man.
Oh dear.
We got bigger problems than we thought. If you look in here, our collar has undone itself.
Oh goodness. It was rewelded. It broke. Alright, this is not good, guys. We got to get John and show him. So not only do we have this problem, but it is cracked along there. This one is cracked. We have 2 cracks. Right there. And right there. We have to pretty much redo all of these.
Plus another 4.
Plus another 4. Well, another 3, actually. Making sure the flywheel's not loose. Okay, cool. I'm gonna need someone to hold it while I tighten the dog out of it. Jesus. Well. Bang. Wow. I'm gonna have to cut
The weld.
the weld because it's interfering. All right. Whew. This has been going on for a while. All right, I guess this is a good one to start with, right?
It's already off. And here's number 3. It's Probably in the best condition of the other 3. But we're still going to change it out for the bigger key and increase the strength and durability. So we'll go ahead and take number 2 off of number 1, get them separated. There we go. So I got to take this shroud cover off, cut them welds off at the collar to the flywheel, and bring them over to Ike so we can get some bigger keys put in, make any repairs necessary.
That's a lot of holes. Now we just need to cut some straight lines and we'll have 2 engine mounts. So we got our 4 engine connectors beefed up. They should be stronger than ever now.
Oh yeah, man.
Still no promises if we want to put this thing in a car. Here's our final engine. Go Power Sports hooked it up with 4 more till it's in 212 engines. So this thing is up to 848 times 2, basically a 1.7 liter V8 engine. Turns out it's bigger than a small block Chevy, and it's probably gonna weigh about as much. So now, begs the question, how are we gonna connect these 2 banks of engines? Marriage is what brings us together today between these 2 engines, and what better way to celebrate marriage than with a Lovejoy coupler. We have 2 hubs here that are connected with a rubber bushing. One side goes on here, conveniently 3/4 inch shaft. The other side we need to make adapt to the flywheel.
Now personally, John, I think that this is going to last a lot longer and be more reliable than version 1 that we did with the keys and the couplers.
Yeah, see, I don't think so. I see where you're coming from, but I think the original metal is gonna be just more hardcore. I think that rubber is gonna get beat to a pulp pretty darn quick.
This is one way to find out. Let's find a way to get them married. So this side here is the easy part. That just slides on, right? Well, now we need to find a way to get some threads on that to thread right there onto the flywheel. So what I'm gonna have to do is turn up the welder, fill this in with weld, grind it down smooth, drill and tap it to that thread size. Wish me luck.
Mother's Day is right around the corner, and if you're into go-karts and mini bikes, odds are you put your mom through a lot. I know that I have. She's always worried about the contraptions that we're building and riding, but Aura is today's video sponsor, and they finally have a solution where I can remind my mom that I'm thinking of her and that everything is okay. Like this moment from like 10-15 years ago where I was restoring the C10. That's the old bed. Or this photo from the baseball game that we went to a couple of weeks ago. Or this, hey, what is this? How did this get here? Oh yeah, I sent Ike an invite code so he can add live photos and up to 30-second videos anytime he wants. Hey dude, can you quit messing around and set up our other Aura frame? Okay. Aura Frames was named the best digital photo frame by Wirecutter, and it's easy to see why. There's unlimited storage, the display looks like a real photo, not like a phone screen. My loved ones can remotely add photos with the link that I send them, and now I get to easily see so many of my favorite memories instead of them being stored away in a closet somewhere. And it only takes about 2 minutes to set up the frame using the Aura app. Ever since I set up my Aura frame, it's been a great and unexpected pick-me-up throughout the day, and it's earned a prime location here on my desk. In fact, Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. For a limited time, you guys can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off plus free shipping on their best-selling Carver matte frame. That's auraframes.com, promo code CarsandCameras. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
Aha! That was a piece of cake. This thing is awesome.
Great photos. Wait, is that Kyle? Wait, go back. Is that Kyle? What's he doing up here?
Oh, I gave everyone at Carson Cameras access to this Aura frame. Well, it looks like we need to get in there and help him out. Thanks again to Aura for sponsoring today's video. That's much better.
Dude, you really think that is gonna last as long as steel?
I don't know, man. It's got some good strength in the compression, but honestly, you know, the tensile strength of weld metal coming out of that. Maybe stronger than the metal we're using. That's how it works. But I think the downfall is still going to be where we're connecting it with threading to the flywheel and
Right,
supported weld.
because we have to weld it to the flywheel. This is only part of the equation. The other part is like the timing and is it going to stay in time where it's welded to the flywheel. It's like I'm at the hibachi restaurant. Oh. Shake weight.
Sorry.
Shake weight.
I didn't know you were looking, bro.
You can take over.
Sorry. Well, I made it 2 months without having to use this thing. I don't like that candle smell. So I got this all welded in. Let's get it on the lathe, grind this surface smooth, drill and tap to our flywheel so that can screw on. So here we have the finished product.
All right, I really think that these Lovejoys are gonna work better long-term than the solid couplings that we made before.
Think so? Those are solid.
They're solid, but
That's a rubber.
These have a little bit of cush to them, so these rubbers are gonna actually last longer than the solid couplings.
All right.
You know, because how many hours did we get out of them?
I probably got like an hour or two before we had problems. Yeah.
I'm gonna say we got like a good 24 hours out of these.
I don't know, dude. That's
I don't know, you're
tall
2
order.
against 1, man. I got you, Ike.
It's a tall order, but man, there's a reason why they have these. So we welded and tapped these. They are gonna screw on to the flywheel, and we are gonna crank them down 25 foot-pounds or
The
something.
flywheel torch spec?
Flywheel
Yeah,
torch
25
spec.
foot-pounds.
I like to go a bit more. And we're gonna weld up around it, which is gonna really lock them down and keep them from turning. But we can't do that until we time the engines. We got the 3 solid fingers here. Then you slip in a rubber spider. And then you have the other end of the coupling that is keyed 3/4 shaft, and that slides right over that, and then you have a nice rubber damping right there in between the 2 engines. The only thing that we have to worry about is that rubber eventually failing, and when it does, we're gonna know about it because it's gonna start making a lot of noise. We're gonna stop, we're gonna separate the engines, pop in a new spider, and put it back together, and we're good to go. No welding required after that.
And our engine's overheating.
Well, that's a different thing.
So we are removing the factory mufflers, the valve covers, and the spark plugs so we can verify the position of the piston on each one of these engines, because it's very important that we get them synced up correctly while keeping the first 4 in mind so we get that sweet, sweet V8 sound.
It's gonna sound like a NASCAR.
Yeah, it is.
It's gonna sound like a 1975 Chevy Nova.
That's oddly specific.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
What?
A 75? Like a peak smog?
Yes, Peak Smog.
How dare you?
The little 262 4.3 liter V8. Yes, they made a 4.3 liter V8. All right, bud?
Yeah.
All right. That's what this is going to sound like.
You know, F1 V8s were really small too. Might sound like an F1 V8.
Maybe a F100 V8. So now that the Lovejoy is mounted on this engine, we have it set on number 1 cylinder, and it is locked in. We think we have this engine timed correctly for cylinder number 2. Let's see how it fits.
It looks mean.
Oh, that's perfect. It is absolutely perfect, dude. So I did all my measurements, and we've got the Lovejoy's spaced just right. I've got 7 machine washers on one end of the Lovejoy going to the crankshaft, and then we have the other Lovejoy mounted straight to the flywheel at probably about 35-40 foot-pounds of torque. Y'all are probably wondering like how you get these things timed. If you switch around the Lovejoys, because not every single one of them are threaded exactly the same. So we're doing a little mix match type thing, getting the 3 ears in the perfect order so the Lovejoys mate perfectly. I'm terribly excited. This is gonna work way better than the other system that we've got here, which there's nothing wrong with what we got over there. I'm just thinking longevity, this is gonna be the better setup.
All right, we'll see.
Yep. So this last one here isn't gonna quite line up. We got lucky on these two by doing the little switcheroony to find the one that matched perfectly, but the last one is, well, not perfect, and that's okay. We can either shim it, or we can chuck this thing up in the lathe. We can machine the backing down just a little bit where it'll clock this in the perfect position. So I'm gonna machine out the center section, and I'm gonna leave the outer section alone, which is gonna get it closer to the flywheel, and whoever welds this up is gonna thank me for that.
Go Power Sports also hooked us up with 4 more round slide 22mm carburetors. These are gonna help throttle response a ton, and gonna give us some more horsepower.
Can't wait to get started on this header.
Yeah, no, I love the crispy feel of a round or flat slide carburetor. Way better than the factory carburetor on these things.
Oh, definitely. Are we gonna mimic this header?
I'm not sure
side?
yet. This thing took like a day and a half to build.
But it would be epic if it matched, dude. Brings a tear to the eyes.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Just look down that line.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. Like looking down the middle is like so sick.
They're so close together. If we window one block, we might window two, because it's just gonna knock it into the other engine.
Hey, but that's a benefit of this over a small block Chevy, is you can spin a bearing and you just replace an engine.
We don't know what's gonna happen if one of the blocks get windowed. I mean, we might break a crankshaft and lose half our engines.
So we're really happy with our 2 banks of 4-cylinder engines, but now we need to connect the 2 to make our V8. So we have some timing gears, at least that's what we're calling them. These are sprockets off the shelf from Go Power Sports. We're gonna have some on the crankshaft of the engine, and then some down on our jack shaft, or it would regularly be the crankshaft of the V8, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So enter our engine connector pieces. This whole assembly needs to get raised up so we can run a big 1-inch shaft through here all the way to the other end, and that is how we're gonna get our power from each bank down to one central shaft.
Yeah.
So to connect our 2 banks of 4-cylinder engines to make a V8, we're gonna run these timing gears. Well, they're really just 420 sprockets that we're gonna place right up here using this hub and right down here on our main jack shaft. But these don't fit very well, so we need to chuck our hubs up in the lathe to get them to fit this diameter here. Same deal with the jack shaft hub. Nice. This axle is what's going to be carrying the 80 to 100 horsepower and 100 plus foot-pounds of torque this beast is going to make. I'm not sure it's going to last that long, to be completely honest, but we're testing new limits here. It's a nice tight fit. That's crazy. Sprocket, yeah, right, just like this. Chain, same deal on the other side. And then, you know, another sprocket here to whatever we're driving. Dude, where are you going? We got a V8 to build.
I gotta check something real quick. We When you're facing the front of the engine turns counterclockwise. No. Clockwise. Let me double check. I think it turns clockwise.
That would be clockwise if you're facing the engine.
If you're facing the front, it turns clockwise. So okay, we got to remember that.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be setting it up the same rotation of the engine. We don't want to put this thing, we don't want to crank it up and want to go forward and actually go backwards if we put it in the vehicle.
Right.
Yeah. So front clockwise. We got to figure out which side gets the tensioners for the rotation. You know what? Let's just assign it right now.
Okay.
So clockwise, right?
Yep.
So this would be the front.
Yes.
So why don't we just make this the front and then the back side over there.
Sprockets are installed, and before we run these two banks down to our one crankshaft, which is going to be a challenge in itself, we're going to spin these engines over now that all of our Lovejoys are connected, and we can look for any weird flexing or see how much slop there is in between each one. So go ahead and spin it over, buddy.
Oh no. Oh no.
That's 1/4 inch plate.
I don't know if you can see it on camera.
Yeah, it looks like you're in a wave pool. I've never seen steel that thick do that.
It might get better once it's fully welded.
Yeah, it is just tacked, but also that's bad.
It could need some T bracing up underneath it.
Yeah,
running across.
Gussets or something, right?
Yeah.
Did not see that coming.
Well, I was a little worried about it. Two of the Lovejoys weren't exactly centered, but I thought that the rubber was going to make up for it. I thought it was going to be okay because it's not much. I mean, if it was enough, I would have said something, but well, obviously there's a bit of an issue. Okay, and it's the center too. So spin it over one more time. I think it's this one. And this one.
Oh yeah. And you can see the plate. Yeah, it is, man. That's all right. Take it all back apart.
So we just removed the Lovejoy that we think was the problem. But when you put it back on here and you spin it, you ready? Yep. Look how it is perfect. That doesn't make any sense why here would be wobbling so much.
So let me ask you, which method is going to be more reliable?
Man, I hate you. Not you, you. Alright, so I've got an idea. I don't know. What if we were to, you know how the crankshaft is already hitting here?
Yeah.
What if we were to chuck this up and we were to bore out a 3/4 shaft just at the end where the snout of the other shaft
Countersink a little bit. I like that idea. I think that's a great idea.
It was this one that was hitting that one, but I'm sure that one's doing the same thing.
So let's address the elephant in the room. How are we going to make two banks of engines that are facing opposite each other rotate the same direction. This is the front of our engine assembly, and we need it to rotate clockwise. This bank, no problem. That's the way these engines naturally rotate. This bank, these engines are gonna rotate the opposite direction that we want our V8 turning. Well, we're gonna use some idlers and a whole lot of chain. Check it out. So by installing our chain this way, with these two idlers with bearings roughly here and here, when the engine rotates the correct direction, it's actually gonna spin our center shaft the way we need it to. Is it gonna work with this much horsepower? So we need to start by mounting our two idlers that are gonna carry the chain to reverse the direction. We need 2 half-inch holes. And the convenient thing about this project, you can push as hard as you want and it doesn't move. This thing is seriously so heavy. That'll work. I have to know if our theory is gonna work. There it is. We just need to shorten this chain. We can tension it with the engine and with our center shaft. And then I have a feeling we're gonna need some guides as well, but I can't wait to see this thing spin over. So everything was going well with our second bank of engines. It's definitely a learning curve we have going on because we're welding steel to cast iron. There are bound to be some learning moments when you're doing that. We had to go buy a special TIG rod to weld these two together. We're preheating it, we're post-heating it, we're peening it, we're doing all the things we need to do. However, on this one, we got maybe just a little too much uneven heat, and we actually cracked the flywheel, which is extremely dangerous. So, rather than cutting it off and starting all over and adding 4 hours to our day on just this one engine, we're just gonna autogenously weld the flywheel back together. Yeah, and you guessed it. Don't try that at home, ever. Don't even come close. We're gonna paint this this engine red so we know to stay away from it. You got it, buddy.
I can't see the crack.
That pulse is crazy, man. It's like a freaking rave in here.
I think it got worse.
I think it got worse too. Wow, it just immediately re-cracked. Oh boy.
Okay, well, that's what we had.
Yeah, that thing's totaled. Look at the back of that.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so I'm willing to say we had some uneven heat on that thing, which led to the cracking.
You know, cast iron, it's definitely hard to work with, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Especially with other metals involved too.
The nice thing is we're able to see that we are not cooking our crankshaft seal. We were really afraid of this getting too hot and having an oil leak, but it looks perfectly fine. So we went dumpster diving, found a cast flywheel. Just gonna swap it on there, try again.
I tell you what though, this stuff we're using, just using the cutting wheel on it, was harder to get through than normal.
Really?
Yeah.
So this flywheel just got turned into one of our trophies for Mini Mayhem. That's coming up on May 16, 17, 18 of 2025 at Busco Beach, North Carolina. Mini Mayhem is one of our big meetups of the year. All of our subscribers show up with their four-wheelers, their mini bikes, their dirt bikes, their go-karts for a weekend of camping and riding. These are our 3 trophies for our category winners made out of blown-up cars and cameras parts. So this one right here, this sprocket came from Bonneville. This is when we blew the sprocket up at Bonneville. This is from our Tractor Supply go-kart. We got camshaft and other parts from blown up engines. Ike, Kyle, and Zach did a great job building these trophies, and we can't wait to give them off to you guys at Mini Mayhem. So link in the video description to our Facebook page if you need some more information, and a link to the park. Also, if you are a KJ Racing cross kart fan, they're having their first ever test day to gauge interest in an upcoming racing series in North Carolina, May 22nd. I'm going to link that in the description below as well. I need to get mine running. I would really love to make it out there. So if you have a VF1 or if you want to build a VF1, show up, and I would love to see a big turnout so we can take these things racing. Let's get back to it. So we're going to do a final test of our firing order to see what the pistons are doing, what the valves are doing before we weld this whole assembly together. So go ahead and slowly turn this thing over, and we're going to look at these rods we have shoved in the spark plug hole to see what's coming up, what's going down, and make sure our timing is correct. Oh boy. When all else fails, yeah, we'll let that cool off a little while and come back and hit it some more. This thing is looking absolutely fantastic, and we have all 8 engines synced up, or we have our 2 banks synced up. 1, 3, 4, 2. So to now have a V8 pattern, what we're going to do is rotate this bank 90 degrees, because every one of these engines is firing every 180 degrees. So to make it an even 8 would be to rotate this bank 90 degrees, meaning you're going to have a cylinder firing every 90 degrees.
Tell me when.
Yep. And it doesn't really matter which 90 either, does it? No. About there.
Yep, should be right there, huh?
Yep. So we can put our last chain on, tension it, and we're going to be ready to fire this thing up. You're about to spin that, and this side should move.
Yep. Oh God. I think battery's dead.
Dude, I think it's just trying to...
It's not.
No, it's not dead. It's just, it has 8 engines worth of compression.
All right, we'll turn it to 15. Nope.
Nope.
Do a thing.
Dude.
No, it doesn't want to do anything.
We need the bump box,
Yeah.
or like our pull covers. But it's crazy, it works. It's so insane to see you spin this bank of engines and then this bank moves. Here we go. Bigger drill. Dang.
Nope.
The last thing we need to do before firing this thing up is removing our 4-into-1 exhaust so we can match the zoomies of our other 4 engines. So Go Power Sports hooked us up with 4 of their build-your-own exhaust kits, which I think is a fantastic idea. It comes with a flange and these 2 pipes here that you can kind of cut and clock, and it fits into each other like that, however you need it. I think it's a fantastic idea. We're only going to use about half of it right now. Once we get this in the go-kart or the truck we plan on putting this into, we'll chop it up and go from there. But right now, zoomy test. So we came up with a name for this monstrosity, the T8, the Tillotson 8-cylinder. So the T8 is complete. We just need to add a little bit of Sunoco Racing fuels to these new engines. We're gonna spin it over by hand, and we're gonna weld this thing to the table so it doesn't go anywhere. But let's spin it over by hand and get a look at it. Wow, it's got some rolling resistance, dude. Sounds like Canadian geese. All right, let's weigh in. That's heavy. Good. All right. Coming down. Oh, that's a lot of weight, dude.
Wow. It's actually very even left to right.
Okay.
It's not as bad as I thought.
All right, so it's over 400. We were going for under 400, but we appear to be at about 420.
Nice.
That's what I called.
At 210. Oh, we're at 196, right at 200, so it's like 410.
Okay.
That's good.
We're just over 400 pounds. Not bad.
Yep.
That ain't going anywhere. So my buddy here tried to hold our bump box and start it, and it near about tore his shoulder off. So we had to create this contraption to hold our starter box down because, well, turns out starting a 1.7 liter V8 engine is very difficult by hand. So let's test and see if this is gonna even turn these engines over. Contact. Oh yeah. Oh, we're ready. It's go time. All right, so spark plugs and a little starting fluid just to help them. And we're doing it. Contact. I think we need a little throttle.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
Contact.
Nice.
We put it there. We did it.
That thing's insane.
Thanks for making sure we didn't die, Quinn. Yeah, we had some wood fall off. We got a motor bolt here that fell off from, guess it just wasn't tight. Oh yeah, that bank over there.
There was no load on it, so it's okay.
Yeah, it sounds crazy, man.
It sounds insane.
This puppy is gonna be so sweet in a 1995 Chevrolet S10. No load and it's hot. All right, so we know we need a tensioner here. Let's go check out the other one.
The other one looked good when I walked over.
While
on
the other one's
side.
not nearly as hot, it feels great.
It's because it's not having to do that double turn.
Yeah, for sure. That's insane. I guess we just didn't have one of these tight.
Tight enough.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, that is a hugely successful first test of the T8. Ike's gonna hear this thing run, and we're gonna try to get this thing tuned in a little bit. Get the idle down so we can hear it sound like a NASCAR idling, right?
It's not going to sound like a NASCAR. Maybe a NASCAR with two rods through the bottom of the block and running at like 3,000 RPM.
Man, have some faith. The other day you said it would sound like your Nova.
Well, we'll get to that. It's gonna sound like the Nova eventually.
All right, go ahead and crank it, buddy.
All right.
All right. Here we go.
Are we choked?
No, we just operated the. We just kind of cracked the throttles.
We can try.
You want to check the chain tension before I do anything?
They're both pretty tight.
You checked it. It's fine.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Firing.
Cranking. think, buddy?
I think it's pretty awesome. I think y'all did a great job.
We even got it idling.
Yeah.
And that's not, I mean, that's a little warm.
That's pretty warm. I don't expect this to be lasting like any road trips.
We need like a cooling system here. We're up to 100 degrees on this chain, 115 degrees on this chain.
Yeah.
This chain is 25 degrees cooler. It's only 90.
Well, yeah, it's got less going on.
Yeah,
This
it's
one's,
doing a lot of work.
Yeah, it's doing a lot of work.
But we've run this thing for probably close to 5 minutes now, if not more than 5 minutes on the table, which it's lasted longer than our initial 4-cylinder test.
Okay.
I think it's ready to go on a go-kart, boys.
It'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Question is, which go-kart?
I don't know, but you'll catch it here on Cars and Cameras. Thank y'all for watching. Leave a thumbs up for the first ever Tillotson V8, aka the T8. Shout out to Go Power Sports for sending us the header kits. Love those things. Can't wait to install the rest of those.
Yeah.
The Tillotson 212s, the 22 mil carburetors. Thanks for watching again. Catch you next time.
Ready?
Yep.